Welcome to our discussion on these thought-provoking writings. We're diving deep into concepts of wisdom, self-cultivation, and the pitfalls of folly, as presented in a very detailed text.
I'm excited to explore these ideas. So, we're looking at some heavy ground, like, not being a fool and really embracing wisdom, right?
Exactly. One of the central themes, is this idea that if you plan to manipulate or run your life through pre-planned schemes, you're essentially setting yourself up as a fool. It warns against surrounding yourself with foolishness, because in a way, you're inviting that folly into being, too.
That's interesting because it's almost like saying that the road to failure is paved with a bunch of careless decisions. And there's a recurring line: a wise choice is surrounded by wisdom, which really echoes through the chapters.
Absolutely. It's like every verse seems to remind you that you need to actively trade your intentions with the reality around you to gain wisdom. It warns against laziness, saying that a lazy person can easily fall into trouble, almost like laziness is a seed for sin.
Yeah, exactly. And it uses some vivid analogies, like comparing your laziness to a seed growing into something harmful. Person to ya.
Right? And not only that, but it also contrasts the foolish with the wise by explaining that if you indulge in pre-planned schemes or mimic what you see without critical thought, you risk becoming a joke. It clearly emphasizes that wisdom is something earned through hard work and true understanding, not imitation.
I get that. But don't you think it's a bit harsh to say that mimicking others necessarily makes you foolish? I mean, sometimes learning by imitation is how we start.
That's a good point. However, the text suggests that while learning by imitation might be a start, you have to evolve past it quickly. Otherwise, you risk just repeating the same mistakes and falling into that trap of trying to copy without cultivating your own understanding.
Makes sense. It's like it's not condemning all imitation, just the mindless, uncritical kind that doesn't grow into independent wisdom.
Exactly. Now, moving into the next section on wisdom, the text really digs into what wisdom means. It's about trading in your experiences for knowledgeable insight. It speaks to how every opportunity, even those that initially pass you by, can become the seed of wisdom if you choose to reflect on it.
Yeah, I noticed that too. It almost feels like wisdom is depicted as a living process. Like, it's constantly evolving as you face challenges and learn from them.
Right, it's not static at all. And it even highlights that while fools might have knowledge, they lack the capacity to transform that knowledge into wisdom. Think about it. A fool might know what's right and wrong, but they'll often misapply that knowledge and
Yeah,
end up with disastrous results.
I like that contrast. It really forces you to consider the difference between raw knowledge and truly internalized wisdom.
Definitely. And then we get into the section on wise lesson advice, which is all about applying that wisdom. It insists on the value of hard work and how you'll never truly excel if you're constantly making excuses or lying about your efforts.
There's also a neat point there about, not letting your complaints become your defining trait. Instead, you should let your actions speak louder.
Absolutely. It's like if you're going to face a problem, you've got to not just stand there complaining, but actually act on it. The text strongly emphasizes that doing nothing is, in itself, a form of foolishness.
Yeah, and there's that analogy about leaving opportunities behind and ending up with regret. It's a call to action, to take risks and get out of bed, literally speaking.
Right. And that segues perfectly into the chapter on cultivating life knowledge. This part is all about self-improvement, where the writer questions the very idea of I can't. It challenges you to start cultivating yourself, much like nurturing a garden.
I really appreciated that metaphor. It makes the abstract concept of self-cultivation feel tangible, like even the smallest insect can wake a giant. It's humbling in a good way.
Exactly. It's like, nothing is too small to matter. Every effort counts. And there's a repeated insistence that while you might face jealousy or even plotting when you better yourself, Ultimately, you have to prioritize your own growth.
That's a tough pill for some to swallow. I can imagine people thinking, oh, I'll just let others dictate my pace. But really, it's all on you, right?
Right? And the text doesn't just stop at self-cultivation, it pushes further by highlighting the importance of surrounding oneself with the right people. But it also cautions against being too reliant on others, emphasizing self-reliance.
Indeed, that tension between learning from others and maintaining your own independence is so key. I mean, if you become too dependent, your entire reality can crumble when things go wrong.
Yeah, it's almost like a balancing act. On one hand, you're advised to absorb wisdom from all avenues and protect your integrity. On the other, you must remain vigilant and critical, especially of those who might try to pull you into their own folly.
I also noticed that the text warns about the dangers of misplaced trust. It suggests that trust should be like a check rather than cash, earned gradually rather than given away freely.
Yes, exactly. It's as if every decision carries weight. When you trust carelessly, it's like handing over your power to someone else. And that's a cornerstone of preserving wisdom.
It's fascinating how it layers these ideas, like the interplay between hard work, self-reliance, and the careful application of knowledge. It keeps coming back to this mindset of constant vigilance against foolishness.
True, and it's reinforced by the repeated urging, don't be a fool. I mean, it's stated so many times through different verses that it almost resonates like a mantra throughout the entire work.
Right. That mantra isn't just about avoiding mistakes, but about actively pursuing a life filled with thoughtful decision-making. What's interesting is how it also ties ethics and morality into the concept. Not just being smart, but also being good.
Exactly. For example, one verse likens people who lie and complain to a dysfunctional family, like how lying is the brother of gossip. It's a vivid picture of how negative habits cluster together, ultimately hindering your growth.
I love that imagery. It's almost as if the text warns you to guard against these vices as one would guard a fortress. But I wonder, do you think it might benefit from some modern examples to really drive the point home?
That's an interesting critique. In a way, while the imagery is timeless, grounding it in modern context could make it even more relatable. But then again, the metaphorical language has its own universal charm.
I agree. It does have a universal quality. Yet, I still think a few contemporary analogies might help people connect with the core message, especially the parts about, the repercussions of laziness and poor decision making.
Fair enough. It's like, the text already gives these analogies, such as a seed growing into a flower, or the idea of waiting for glory only to be tricked by it. But I see your point. A modern twist might enhance the message.
Exactly. Regardless, the call to cultivate oneself is clear. Reject the I can't mentality and strive to be better every day. It's almost revolutionary in its straightforwardness.
Indeed. And it all ties back to that overarching motif. Wisdom must be earned, traded, and most importantly, applied. It isn't passive. It's something that demands effort, reflection, and a continuous willingness to grow.
Right. And that's what makes these writings so rich. They don't hand you wisdom on a silver platter. They make you work for it, question it, and even challenge it mentally.
Exactly. And speaking of challenging wisdom, there's a point made about how fools might use your knowledge against you. It's a reminder that sometimes you have to be cautious in how much you reveal, which is somewhat counterintuitive if you're all about sharing wisdom.
Yeah, that struck me as well. It suggests that wisdom is as much about discretion as it is about knowledge. Not everyone is ready or even worthy of the full depth of your insights.
Absolutely. And even though it may sound a bit cynical, it's a pragmatic take on human interactions. You want to be open, but not so open that you become vulnerable to manipulation or misinterpretation.
That nuance is important. It reminds us that wisdom also includes knowing when to speak and when to listen. And as much as it advocates action, it equally values thoughtful silence.
Indeed. To wrap things up, the central message here is about empowerment, empowering yourself with wisdom, continuously cultivating knowledge, and making choices that are in line with a clear-eyed understanding of reality.
Absolutely. It's a continual journey of self-improvement, vigilance against one's own pitfalls, and balancing the acquisition of knowledge with the action of living it out.
Right. And whether it's avoiding the trap of laziness, not letting a fool drag you down, or being selectively open with your wisdom, the text's call to live wisely broadcasts as both a warning and an inspiration.
I couldn't agree more. It challenges us to reflect, to act, and to continuously question our own paths. It leaves us with that enduring mantra: a wise choice is surrounded by wisdom.
Exactly. That mantra echoes like a refrain in our lives. So, as we turn these pages in our own journeys, it's on us to decide: will we embrace wisdom or let folly dictate our path?
Well, I know what my next step is gonna be. More reflection, more action, and definitely more wisdom building. Thanks for such an engaging conversation.
Thank you. Here's to making wise choices and continually evolving in thought and action. Until next time.